Hello everyone, it's Kari VanNoy here again today for Foiling Friday. I'm so glad to be here and thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking all things foil today and Transfer Gel Blanco by Decofoil. This is super fun, and last week we talked about Transfer Gel Duo. We will be comparing them a little bit today, but mostly focusing on the Blanco. There are some really great things that Blanco is good for, like neon enamel, for example, which is more of a translucent see-through type product. Blanco is really great for flock transfer sheets as well that are the lighter colors. We're going to be talking about flock transfer sheets at another time, but today we're focused on the foil. So let's go ahead and get started. If you missed the Decofoil Duo demonstration from last month, we'll link it below if we can remember to do that. But this Blanco is a little bit different, and here's how it shines. I have here some opal foil, and this foil is a little more translucent. That is, it's a little more see-through to whatever is behind it. And so the Blanco is more of a white gel. Now the Duo, as you know, dries clear, but the Blanco dries white. And so this is where it is so helpful to have Blanco, because if you want your product to shine a little more or to be true to the color that it really is, then the Blanco is going to help you out with that. So let me just show you a demonstration of the difference. I'm going to start out with this star stencil. This is the Christmas stars by Maker Forte and Alex Siberia, and this is the Decofoil Duo that I'm starting out first. And I like to put a thick, nice, good layer on, and then I take my stencil pal and I just lightly go over that so that I get a nice, even distribution of the gel. Now this stencil pal is also going to be really helpful for the Blanco. In fact, a lot of the techniques that I showed last week with the Duo are going to apply to the Blanco, but there are some differences, so I'll be pointing those out all along the way. So here is our first panel, and I'm using Eclipse Black cardstock for this background, just so you can really see a dramatic difference in what I'm talking about. I'm going to clean up my surface really fast because I don't want that to dry on my surface, and I also cleaned my stencil off really well with some warm water. Now the stencil is dry, so I'm ready to go in with the Blanco gel. You can see already that this is much whiter. It's definitely brighter than the Duo gel, and the Duo gel is already drying almost a little bit there on the left, so you can definitely see a difference here. So if I missed a few spots, I'll go in with some more of that Duo gel or the Blanco gel, and then I'll spread that out with my stencil pal, and then you can save all the rest of that and put it back into the jar. So really these jars of gel go a long way. So here's our Blanco gel. I'll clean up my surfaces and my stencil and my palette knife very quickly before that it dries on there. If it does dry before you get to cleaning it, it makes it a little more difficult. So I'm going to set these aside here and I'm going to go wash everything off, but you can see the difference there between the Duo and the Blanco. Now these need 1 to 2 hours to dry, as it says on the bottle. If you live in a more humid climate, it may take a little bit longer. Sometimes I do allow them to dry overnight, but I do find that the Duo only needs a few hours for me, and same with the Blanco. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on the next one. I'm going to use the beautiful neon transfer sheets on this one. This is the Lemon Squeeze multi-layer stencil. It's a 2-layer stencil, and I'm only going to be using one of the layers for some of this gel. So I'm going to use the Blanco gel, and this again I'm using the same techniques, just spreading a lot of it on, and then I'm going to spread it nice and distribute it evenly with that stencil pal. So the Blanco is a little thicker, I find, than the Duo gel, not much. It's kind of the consistency of a really thin frosting, or maybe like mayonnaise. It's not very thick, it's not hard to spread, so it works really well. Now here is our stenciled lemons. You've got some whole lemons and some lemon slices here. These could also be oranges, orange slices if you want to switch it up just a little bit. So really fun. Or maybe a grapefruit slice with some lemons. So this could be really beautiful colors. Today we're going to all stick with the neon Hello Yellow transfer sheets. So I'm just going to clean this up. I'm moving on to another stencil. I'm lining it up to match the lines on these Easy Store stencils. You see that they have some holes on the top so you can store these in your binders. These are really great for easy storage, and the names are on the tops of the stencils too, so you always know what you've got. So this one's really fun. This has some larger areas. So when you are putting that Deco Foil Transfer Gel Blanco on, and you're spreading that with the stencil pal, don't press hard on this stencil pal. Just lightly spread it across, and then if you find that you need more gel, you can put more on and lightly spread that. I don't think I mentioned, but this stencil is called Keep It Cool. It looks like a little snowman with a carrot nose and some coal for a mouth and some sunglasses. Really is a cool character here. So we're going to do this one in some fun colors that you might not be aware that the foil comes in. So we will set that one aside to dry. I'm doing all of the stenciling up at the front because these take so long to dry. I have to do all of this at first, set them aside, and then we'll go in with all the foiling and some more tips and tricks. Now here's a Ladybug stencil. I could not resist foiling this one. This came from one of the crafter parties. It's exclusive to one of the crafter parties, so I'm not sure if you can even purchase this in the shop at all, but I wanted to foil this with red, and so that's what we're going to do today. I'm using Blanco, and by the way, all this paper that I'm using that's white, I use the 100-pound paper from Maker Forte. It's nice and thick. It holds up really well to this gel. It doesn't wrinkle, and when it foils so beautifully. So that's what I really do like to use. Again, we'll go through the same way. I'm just doing this first layer here that I want to be red. They do kind of look like fortune cookies also. So you could make a different kind of card with this. Today we're going to go with the ladybugs, and I'll show you how we'll finish this one off. We will do some stencil inking with the other layer once this is dry and foiled. So I'll set that aside to dry. Now here's another layered stencil that I just adore. It's the Cardinals stencil, and there is a really small piece here that I definitely don't want to move. So I'm going to show you a trick. I do not use pixie spray on here or any kind of temporary adhesive when I'm foiling, because I find that those kinds of sprays like to leave a little bit of a residue, and the foil ends up sticking and you don't get a very clear result with that. So I never use any kind of adhesive like that. I only tape my stencils, but you see I turned this so that that small piece was diagonal or facing me, so that when I spread the Deco Foil Blanco across, it didn't move that small little piece of the stencil. So look at that, we got a really great result and not too much moving on that small piece. Here's another really great use for the Blanco gel. I have a piece of cardstock that I've already ink blended with a variety of rainbow colors, and I accidentally ripped it in one spot. So I'm going to use the Blanco to cover up that mistake, and this Blanco gel, as I mentioned, dries white. So this is going to make a white polka dot over our inked background. It's really, really pretty. I'm just putting a light layer on because I want to see how well you can see through it with a really light layer. You can put it on a little thicker if you want to, but as for now, I think that's going to work out just great. And look at that. I'm going to set that aside to dry. We may or may not foil this. If you get a little of that Blanco gel over the edge, just use your finger to wipe that clean, and there's our result. Now I wanted to take a little time to show you some of the brand new products for this Foiling Friday. These are the new transfer sheets with Decofoil and Maker Forte. It's called Gumball Dreams and it is dreamy. We'll use that foil today. So I'm going to show you what it looks like on a foiled image. Then here's some brand new ephemera. This is beautiful. I love all of these sentiments. Now it comes with a white piece and a darker piece. You want to keep those together. I like to keep them together anyway, because you can take one piece of foil, foil the one that is the white piece, and then use the leftover foil on the black piece that matches. So I'm going to show you today how to use this in case you've never seen it before. I'll show you real quick and we'll use one on a card so you can see how it will all come together. But look at all these beautiful pieces that you get. I love all of these and they're perfect size for card making and for quick card making. And you could also leave them black and white if you want to. I do like to foil them because I like to use that darker piece with the leftover foil. So you get two pieces for one piece of foil. Really, really cool. So I just want to go through these real quick. You can see all of the ones that come with this set. So awesome. So there you go. I love that. I love the ones with the stars. So I'm going to put these back in and then also show you this versatile sheets that is also brand new. Now these are great because these are perfect for the inside of your cards. There's lots of small little sentiments and you just leave these the same size that they are, put them on the inside of your card for a really quick sentiment on the inside, and there's still plenty of room to write your message on the inside of your card. They come with 8 of them this direction and 8 of them horizontal, so you can see that you get plenty of sentiments and these are perfect for your holiday cards. I love that. And then this is one of my favorites. This is the Winter Watercolors paper pack. These are gorgeous. Look at how they look like watercolors. You get all of these beautiful images. These are perfect for cards, perfect for using as a mat. We're going to use a couple of them today. Do you ever get paper that you just love? You don't want to use it. You love it so much. I might need to get an extra set of this just to keep because that's how much I love this. And so these are just gorgeous. Now Alex gave a sneak peek of that last weekend if you joined us. And so you might already know about that, but those are there as well. Now we also have these foilable simple sayings. There's 3 new sets. They come in these great packs. So you have one that is a darker set. You can cut these out with your dies and also foil them. There's also a white piece and then again also these simple sayings that work really great and perfectly with the dies that match. You also get some extra blank canvas in the background so you'll never run out of things to foil. So this one is the Modern Christmas Greetings. That last one I showed you was Vintage Christmas Greetings. So this one has some larger sentiments. You can see this one will work perfectly with the shouted out dies. So these are larger and perfect if you want a larger sentiment. And it also comes with some blank canvas in the back so you can foil your extras. You can see here that it matches perfectly with those dies. This last one is called Merry Christmas Kiddo and it is adorable. Take a look here. There's lots of different images. We got a reindeer, Santa, some gifts. Let's bake cookies. Dear Santa, I've been good. And again, it comes with the white and the black. These are all foilable. You can foil this entire sheet and then cut them out and you'll have so many foiled sentiments ready to go. That is a big time saver. So those are the 3 new simple sayings. And now let's go ahead and start using this new foil. I want to show you how cute this is on this layered Christmas tree. This is a 3-layered stencil set called Trim the Tree. I've already inked up some of these layers, but I decided this is going to look way better with some of that foil over the top. So I'm taking the layer that is the circles that looks like the ornaments, and I'm going to use this Blanco right over the top. That'll cover up that red that I had inked on before, and then it'll prepare it for the foil. But again, I have to set this aside to dry first before I can foil it. You'll also notice that I did use some glitter gel on the star, so you'll see how that turns out with these transfer sheets, the foil. This is dry now. I've set that aside for a few hours and now I'm back, and I want to show you a trick. When you have a package of transfer foil that has a sticky part on it, it's really easy to get those foil pieces stuck to the sticky tab, but my friend showed me this trick. I'm going to fold it back over onto itself, and then you're able to get that out without getting that foil stuck on the sticky tab. And now you can see that I have my rotary cutter and I'm in love. Why didn't I have one of these before? With all the foiling I've done over the last 20 years, it's a game changer. So I use that to cut the foil very quickly. I've turned my mink onto a level 3, and I just need to wait for that to completely heat up. It turns green when it heats up, so I'm sitting here just waiting and thinking maybe I should go on to something else, but then magically it turned green. So I'm going to go ahead and place that in. I have an extra piece of cardstock behind my panel, and I'm placing it in the pre-cut parchment paper that comes from Maker Forte. Now look at this result. Look how beautiful these ornaments are in various colors, but you'll see that some of that foil did stick to the glitter. Not a lot, just a little, but that's okay with me. I still liked the way that it looked. This is a beautiful foil and perfect for ornaments. I think it would also be great for a background or some bubbles or something fun like that. Let's move on and compare the Deco Foil Duo to the Blanco using the opal foil. Now, as I mentioned, this opal foil, you can see when I pull one of the sheets off, you want to make sure you just get one because these are really thin sheets. And then when I pull that off, you can see through it still. You can see right to my mat behind it. Now this is a cutting mat that I have, that's why I'm able to use my rotary cutter right over the top. I'm going to do the same exact thing and put in a cardstock shim. I find that works best in my mink machine. I have a mini mink right here that I'm using. And I'm going to also do the same thing with the Blanco panel. Then I'll roll back up my foil right away. I don't want to get that wrinkled or stuck on anything, so I always put it back in the tube right away after I have my foil cut. And let's go ahead and run these through. Now I like to loosen up the foil using my bone folder. Look at this result. Now this is gorgeous with the Deco Foil Duo, but you can tell, you'll see the opalescence, but you can also see through to the black. But when you use it with the Blanco, look at this. The Blanco keeps those stars white, and you can still see the opal over the top. I'm going to try to hold this up. My camera did not want to focus on the Blanco one. You can kind of see it by my thumb how the opal shines through, but those stars are staying white. I did get one spot here that wasn't perfect, and so I'm just going to fix that up using my craft knife to scrape away lightly that excess foil, and you can see that it works just great. The Blanco is a little more difficult to do cleanup work, I found, than the Deco Foil Duo, but it still can be done. So I'm just going to clean up a little bit of that here, and there we go. There's our Blanco versus the Duo. So depending on the look you want, both of them are beautiful, but you can see how the Blanco can be your best friend when you want a true color to shine through. There we go. Trying to focus on that Blanco. It's really beautiful in real life. Okay, let's move on to the cute lemon slices. We're using the Electro Pop Neon Enamel in Hello Yellow. And I'm going to fold this back once again so that I don't get that stuck on there. These are really thin sheets as well, and you can see they are translucent. You can see right through to my cutting mat there. So you really want the Blanco for this one to help it stay bright and beautiful and vivid with that yellow color. So pretty. So this is where it also shines. I'm going to go ahead and put that right into my sandwich with the cardstock, and then using those parchment pre-cut sheets from Maker Forte and run that through. And while that's going through, let's go ahead and get the ladybugs ready to go. I'm going to use the Radiant Red foil, fancy foil from Gina K. And this is also available in the shop, so you can find all these beautiful, amazing different foils there. I love having a variety to use. So this one has like some stars and some fun designs in them as well. And go ahead and cut that with my rotary trimmer and put that in its own sandwich right here and get that one ready to go. Now you can see that the yellow enamel is here on the right. It's been sitting there for a little bit. I like to let it cool off completely before pulling off that enamel. And that's true with all the foils. Just give it a little bit of time to cool off. I loosen that with my bone folder and peel that up. And if you missed a spot, just take your bone folder, push that down, and there is our beautiful result. Now this is neon yellow. It is fluorescent. It's beautiful. It's bright. This is going to make a really fun summery card. And I'm going to save that enamel leftover piece. It works a little different than the foil to use as a leftover, but again, in a future video, we'll show you just what to do with that. I'm going to loosen this one up. Here's our ladybugs. Looks a little like a fortune cookie, and I do have a little cleanup work to do on this one. So I must have got a little bit of that gel over through the stencil or underneath the stencil. And if you're finding that the craft knife doesn't work all the way, get your sand eraser out, clean that up just a little bit, and there you go. So I did work on this one just a little bit longer to get that really looking great. There's a little bit I have to work on there, but for the most part, this looks pretty cute. Can't wait to add those ladybugs. Now here is our Keep It Cool snowman. And did you know that they have a black foil? It's really, really fun to use. And I thought for the sunglasses and for his coal mouth, it would be perfect. So I'm cutting off just some small pieces here to go over those. Turning it over, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but you always want the back side of the foil to be facing, to be touching the Blanco, and the pretty side of the foil up. That's how you will foil it. And then there's this beautiful foil. This is called Orange Sketch, and it's a Deco Foil Brutus Monroe color. That Orange Sketch has some fun designs in it. I thought it'd be perfect for a carrot nose. I'm just going to trim off those ends so I can get it to fit inside of my sandwich here. Making sure that the black is on the black portion where I want it and the orange is over the carrot nose. Then I'll run that through. Now here's the lemon piece. I went ahead and inked on the leaves with some green ink. And now I'm going to show you one other thing you can do with the Blanco gel. This is so fun. I'm using a portion of the snowflake layering stencil here, and I'm just going to tape it down, and then I'm going to go over it with the Blanco. But I also have some colors of glitter here ready to go. So what I'm going to do is just spread that snow or the Blanco right over the snowflakes. I'm doing it over the image as well because snow falls over everything. So that's going to go over the nose, the sunglasses, the mouth as well. So just putting it over all of these, and I'm just adding a small little layer of the Blanco. Then once I get that done, I'll scrape that through so I get a nice even coating over those snowflakes. Save the rest of that Blanco gel for a future use. And then when I peel this off, it's ready to be glittered. I'm going to do this while the Blanco gel is still wet. I'm just going to use small amounts of glitter. I put a piece of paper underneath so I could easily funnel that glitter away when I'm done. And this one I have here first is Snow Flurries, then I have Vegas Strip, and this one here is Clear Skies. This one's brand new to me. I haven't even used it yet, so I'm really excited for snow. So I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit of the Clear Skies first, or I'm sorry, Snow Flurries first. Then I'm going to go in with some of that darker blue glitter, which is the Vegas Strip. And I don't want to cover all of these. I want them to be multicolored snowflakes. So that is why I'm just adding a little bit at a time. So we'll go ahead and add the Clear Skies now. and just try to get all of those snowflakes covered with the glitter so they're really beautiful glittery snowflakes. Then I'll go ahead and tap that off. Now this Blanco is still wet, by the way, so if there's any left over, I'm just going to cover it up with this Snow Flurries one. Maybe a little bit of the darker blue too, just for fun. Just want to make sure that all of that is covered up. And then I'll go ahead and set that aside to fully dry, and I'll cut this panel down and make that into a card. So this is a really fun one. Now I have all this glitter left over. It's kind of mixed up, so I can set that aside in a separate jar to use for snow at a later time or another project. I got so excited about that glitter background on the snowman that I wanted to make one just as a background on its own. And so this time I'm using the Tessa Dot stencil, and I'm going to spread that Blanco gel right over there. And I'm using this time some of my very favorite glitter that has recently come out from Maker Forte, and it is called Tornado. This glitter is so beautiful. It has some red and gold in it, and I can't even describe the shine. This video doesn't do it justice. You can't even tell those beautiful colors on here, but I'm telling you, in real life, it is just gorgeous. And I was excited for this because I just wanted to add a little bit of that, a little bit of the Snow Flurries, and this is going to make for a beautiful background for a Christmas poinsettia card or something like that. I wish you could see the red and the gold sparkles in here. So pretty. I'm going to set that aside to dry, so we're going to have white polka dots with a little bit of glitter on the top. It's going to be a fun card. All right, let's go ahead and put some cards together. I have this set right here called Take a Sip. It's been one of my all-time favorite stamp sets from Maker Forte. This is an older stamp set, but I still love it so much, and it's perfect for summer, perfect for a bright lemony card. I'm using these dies from a crafter party called Strawberry Fields, and I just cut out a strawberry and a couple of those sprigs of greenery. And now I'm cutting down a sentiment from All Seasons Sentiments. It says, have a relaxing day. Now this is a foilable sentiment, but I decided to just go ahead and leave it black. We had enough brightness with those lemons in the background, the strawberry, and the drink. So I'm leaving it black, and I'm going to pop up that lemonade drink with some foam tape. And then I'll go ahead and glue down these branches here and also the strawberry. So I'm just going to slide them in underneath that drink, the foam tape drink. Pop them in right under there, just kind of slide them in a little bit. I'll also glue down that strawberry, and then we'll go ahead and add that sentiment just right underneath. I'm just going to move these around a little bit until I'm happy with them. There we go, that's looking pretty good. So this I'll also add with some foam tape. And there is our beautiful summertime drink card. It's making me thirsty. I just added it to a 110-pound cardstock from Maker Forte, and that is our first card right there. Of course, it's not going to be complete without some of these beautiful red gems. I believe this is roller skates. I'm going to add a few here and around this card, and that'll complete this here. It's really easy to add these on with the Maker Forte magic wand. I just pick them up with that sticky side there, add some glue, and pop them right down. If you get too much glue out of your bottle when you're putting gems down, you can also use one of those micro brushes to add the glue and then put the gems right on top. Let's go ahead and finish our snowman card. I'm going to cut this panel down. I'm just choosing a sentiment from one of these Simple Sayings sentiment sets, and I'm going to cut it out with that wavy banner die. I'm adding this to some acid wash cardstock, and now I just need to work out where that sentiment is going to go. It says, Merry Christmas, little buddy. And before I put this down, I'm going to use some Vegas strip ink on that banner just to color it up. I opted not to foil this since I already had the foil on the snowman, on the nose and the sunglasses and his mouth, so this just needed a little bit of color. So that Vegas strip is going to be perfect. I'm just going to trim the edge of this banner so it lines up with the edge of the cardstock. I'm going to straighten that up just a little bit so that it falls where I want it to. And then I'll use some foam tape to add this to the card as well. And there is our snowman card. I really think that stencil is adorable. I'm using my tweezers here to get that placed just perfectly so my fingers were out of the way. That really does help. So let's go ahead and foil up some of these ephemera pieces that I showed you earlier. I'm going to take some green and some red foil. These are Gina K foils, radiant red and glittering green. So I'm just going to cut a piece just big enough for that first ephemera piece. I'm using my scissors to cut this foil because I have my craft mat down, and you definitely don't want to use a rotary cutter on a craft mat because it will cut right through. So because I had that down, I'm using my scissors here. I think these will both fit in my sandwich here, so I'm going to try to foil them both at the same time. I put my cardstock down inside of my parchment paper. Now this parchment is coated with silicone, so it doesn't stick. It's really great. And I also should mention, when you're foiling with, I knocked that cardstock with my rainbow brush. Did you see that? And that is how I lost the corner of my cardstock. Anyway, what I was saying is, when you're foiling with toner, which is what these ephemera are made with, I like to use my rainbow brush to brush that off, to dust off the foiled pieces or those toner pieces. That's how you're going to be sure to get a much better foiling result. I have a separate rainbow brush that I use only for foiling. I don't use it for my kaleidoscope powders or any other thing. It's just for foiling. And then on the second piece, I take the leftover foil, put it on the second piece. I'll show you one more time with this green one. And when I put it on that second piece, I do like to tape it with some really lightweight, light adhesive tape. So I'm using my mint tape here on these to hold them in place. I'll show you in just a moment. I'm going to run this green one through one more time because I forgot to dust that off first, and I didn't get that great of a foiling result. I wanted it to be definitely more beautiful. So I'm running that through again, but here's the red one. And now you have a very little foil waste. So here's the first green one. And now I'm going to take that second piece. Sorry, I'm a little off here, off camera, but I'll move this up in just a minute so you can see. And I'm just lining it up and adding a piece of that mint tape to hold it in place, because I found if I didn't do this, the foil shifted just a little and it didn't foil correctly on my second piece of ephemera. Now that was a very quick explanation of the ephemera. I hope I gave you a little idea. I'm sure we'll be going more in depth on these, but I just wanted to get these so I could show you how beautiful they look with these backgrounds. So I'm just going to choose which one I want to use on which, and I think one of those red ones is going to look gorgeous on this Christmas watercolor paper. So I might do a card with that later. I love it. But for these, I chose the Joy to the World for this one here, and the True Story, which is the more of the green, for the Blanco stars. Now I'm cutting down some of this paper to use as a mat, and then I'm going to trim down these panels as well so that you see a good border of that paper all the way around. I mean, I love this watercolor paper, so I wanted to be able to see it. So I cut these down just a bit, and now I'm adding them all together, and that's going to create these cards. I decided to pop the ephemera up with some foam tape. That's going to give it some more dimensions. So now we have the opal foil on the stars in the background. We have the red foil on that ephemera piece and on the green as well. And look at that beautiful paper for this background. I hated to use it for that, but I love the extra pizzazz that it adds. So there's our green one. And I'll just add these to some card bases to finish those off, but look at the shine. I love the opal in the background with the foil on the ephemera on top. So pretty. So now I'm going to glue this to the card base while I admire that paper the whole time. And there we go. So these are easy cards. I wanted to just give you some ideas of how to use these foiled panels. I hope you enjoy this as well. Here's the ladybugs. I went ahead and added the black with some Eclipse black ink. So that layer I just inked on, and now I'm taking this sentiment that says, "Hey Lovebug," from the All Seasons Sentiments set, and I'm going to back it with some beautiful red cardstock. This is the telephone box cardstock, I believe, and I'll just cut that down to fit, and then that will go on the front. Notice I also have a mat of black and then white around the entire panel, so I did cut this ladybug panel down just a bit to create this card. The last thing, of course, it needs some gems. I'm using those roller skate gems once again and placing those in between all of those ladybugs. I think it adds more sparkle, more shine and interest, and I just love how this looks. So again, I'm placing those real simply with my magic wand tool and a small dot of liquid adhesive. So there's our ladybug card. Isn't that cute? I love that one. I love how it shines too in the light. So fun. Now I did fix up a few of those other problem areas with a white gel pen, so that's another option for fixing any mistakes. And there we go. That's it. So that card is done as well. I have a couple more cards to share with you and one more tip, so stay tuned for that. It's a question I got a lot, so I wanted to address that in this video. For this Christmas tree one, I'm also coloring up the banner that says "Have a Very Merry Christmas," and I'm using telephone box ink for this. If you have the Independence red ink, I think that would be beautiful on this card as well. And I'll pop that up with some foam tape. That's going to create a simple Christmas card. So very easy. I'll again use my tweezers to place that so my fingers don't get in the way. And that's going to look perfect right about there. Then I'll add this to some red cardstock and add that to my card panel. So a really simple card, but with that foil, it really shines. Now for the cardinal, I went ahead and inked on the branch and the cardinal's feet and beak and face. I did that off camera, so I apologize if you wanted to see that here, but it's very simple to line up, and so I think that it's easily doable. So this one we foiled with red and the leaves we foiled with green. And I'm just going to ink around the edges here. And then I'll cut down this panel just a bit on each side so that I can mount that onto a card base as well. Isn't he cute? That cardinal in foil. I can't get enough. This one I'm just going to go ahead and attach right to the 100-pound card base. It's going to have a nice white border around the entire thing. This card needed some red berries, so I had some liquid pearls that I already had created over here on the side, and I'm just going to place those to see if I like them first of all. I'm going to place them on each of the branches near the leaves in different sizes, so there's a little bit of extra interest, and I do like that, so I think I'm going to go ahead and attach those. And then I'm using this stamp from one of our newest stamp sets called It's Snowing, and I'm using the sentiment that says Winter Wishes. I'm going to stamp that off in Eclipse black ink, and I just wanted to mention that this stamp set sold out in the first day that it was in the shop, but we have more on the way. They are available for pre-order if they're not already back in stock, so no worries on that. But Winter Wishes looks so pretty in this font with this cardinal. So let me show you. I'm using my Eclipse black ink and my ink smusher to make sure I get a nice impression. I'm going to stamp it a couple times so that it's nice and dark. Look how pretty that font is. I love that. So there you go. There's our sentiment, and now I'll just add those berries using liquid adhesive and the magic wand. Very simple to do, almost like gems. If those berries didn't work, I was going to add some of those clear gems, but I decided I liked the berries on this one. So here we go. Just placing those down, a small drop of glue and one of those pre-made berries. So that's it. So that's this cardinal card. I love the foil on this one. The green foil turned out great as well. Now let's move on to the question I got multiple times, which is, can you foil on these pre-printed papers? And these are the old world maps from a Maker Forte Mr. Maker release. I'm also going to use this stamp set here to show you the difference in foiling the Blanco and the Transfer Gel Duo. Now, when I foil a stamp like this, I use a tool that I have a foam just for these gels. You can see this foam has been used before. I use it over and over again until it won't allow me to use it. So I haven't cleaned this off. It stays pliable enough that this technique still works for me. And as soon as it doesn't, I'll get a new foam that's assigned just this technique. I'm going to be doing the Deco Foil Duo Gel first, and I'm just inking it on a portion of the stamp. I shared this technique in our last video for Foiling Friday, which showed you how to foil a stamp like this. So this is the same technique. These are just different stamps I'm using. And the Deco Foil Duo works really well with this technique. So you don't want to get a lot of that gel on the stamp, just enough to cover the stamp so that it can be foiled. If you get it inside, then it's going to be a little harder to clean. But I just use my Squid Buddy and go clean that off with a little water and some mild soap like Dawn, and it works just fine. So these are the same stamps. I've cleaned them off, and now I'm going to do the same technique with the Blanco. So does it work with Blanco? Yes, it does. It works the same way, but there's a little wrench we're going to throw into this in just a minute. So watch this. I'm just stamping these down again using the Blanco gel, and I'll use some of the same stamps. I think I'm going to pull out a different one for this one as well. I'm only inking on a portion of this stamp here. I love this one that has the writing on it. It doesn't need to be legible. It's just like the look is really cool. So I'm just stamping on a portion. I'm not even using a stamp block. I'm just putting it down with my fingers because this is going to be foiled. So there we go, just stamping all those down. You can see it a little better with the Blanco gel. It's white, so it's easily seen. The Duo just kind of disappears right into the background. It is there, but it disappears, and of course it dries clear, so it's even harder to see. But these only take a few minutes to dry when you're doing this technique. I'm also going to do the Blanco on these beautiful pens here in the same stamp set. The Blanco gel, I'm using some 100-pound cardstock. This is just a scrap piece of cardstock I had on my desk. So I wanted to show you the Blanco foil on a white background as well. So I'll just finish up that one. I'm stamping 3 of these pens on here, and we'll just set that aside to dry so that I can allow time for foiling. But I still had some of that Blanco gel on my craft mat and I wanted to use it up. So I've got this new stencil here, and I'm going to just go ahead and spread that on. I thought I would have enough. I was a little bit short, so I had to add a little extra, but that's okay. Wanted to use up all that Blanco there. And I'm going to use my stencil pal once again to get that all nice and smooth. And then we'll set that one aside to dry. I'm going to go clean up all these stamps using my Squid Buddy. I'll clean up the stencil, my tools, and the surface here, and I'll set that one aside to dry. And I'll be right back and show you what happens when we foil these. Okay, so look, I just wanted to show you how great these clean up. These white rubber stamps are perfect for this technique. They work so much better than photopolymer stamps because they can hold up with this kind of gel treatment. I have not actually had much success with photopolymer because they spread out a little bit more and there's more white space. So stamps like this that have more of a compact design seem to work the best for me when I've been foiling. I want to know if you've tried this technique and what stamps you've used. I hope you'll tag us when you do that. I'm just going to stamp all of these out with some blue raspberry ink so you can see what these designs look like when they're inked up. Before we foil them, I want you to see what they look like and then compare them to the foiling results that we get. So look at that. They're very detailed. They're so beautiful. I hope you can see that really well. I'll hold it up in just a minute. Just wanted to double stamp that. I have this on a Sizzix sticky sheet, by the way, so I can stamp those down nice and easily. There is no foam in my MISTI for this because these are foam mounted rubber stamps. So there's the result, and there's my Squid Buddy. It holds up beautifully and cleans them really well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm heating up my MISTI, but we're going to start with the Deco Foil Duo. Now, as you know, the Duo allows you to apply the foil just using pressure without using any heat. You don't have to use a laminator or a mink, and it works so great for this because you can just press that on and you have a foiled result. It's a little more difficult to see in this video, but also if you're doing like an art journal or have a bound book you wanted to add foil to, the Deco Foil Duo would be great because then you don't have to run it through a laminator. You can just add it that way and your book will stay intact. Now let's see what happens when we run it through the laminator. I'm going to just use some computer paper for this because this paper is printed on both sides, and I find that it leaves a little bit of the residue from the other side on the paper. See, look at that right there. So I can just throw away this computer paper without worrying about it. Now here's the result. Do you see that? The foil sticks to the toner on the paper as well as what we added with the Deco Foil Gel. So as you know, Blanco Gel can only be run through a laminator or a mink machine. It needs that heat. It doesn't work with just pressure because it doesn't dry sticky like the Deco Foil Duo does. So you know that as we run this Blanco through, it's going to stick to that paper. We already know the results because we saw it on the Deco Foil Duo. So that is why I wanted to stamp an image out for you with the Blanco, just using some plain cardstock so you can see what the results are of this stamping technique. Okay, I got that sticking just a little bit because I used that same computer paper. Now I'm going to toss that away. But look here, see, it sticks to all the places that the toner is the darkest. So I don't think I'll be able to use those panels. I really do think maybe a portion of them or die cut them out. But let me show you, when you use the Blanco on regular paper or regular cardstock, even a darker cardstock like I did last month with the Duo, you're going to get some really great results. So let me cut this down here. Again, I'm just using my scissors because I've got my craft mat out right there and I don't want to cut with the rotary cutter on that craft mat. This is the Deco Foil Lapis Watercolor Foil. Now I'm going to create the same sandwich for this one using my cardstock that got torn just a little bit and my parchment paper and run that through. I'll loosen that foil up with my bone folder and look at these results. Beautiful, beautiful results. I really do love this foiling technique. I can't wait to try it on even more images. So there we go. Now this tree was still wet, so I didn't have time to foil that for you today, but let me show you all the cards that we made and all the techniques. Here's our red cardinal with the green leaves where we inked on the rest of it and added a sentiment and some berries. Here's our gumball wishes foil on the layering Christmas tree stencil with a popped up sentiment. I love how those ornaments turned out. This one is the one we made with the Deco Foil Duo and the Blanco to compare those backgrounds with the opal foil. We also added some ephemera to the top of these and used our new watercolor paper, a watercolor Christmas paper pack. Then we have our Ladybug card with the gems, and we stenciled on the body of the ladybugs over that foil. Keep in mind that the foil will allow for inking over it. You just have to wipe away any excess ink that's on that foil. Here's our cute snowman with the Blanco over top and some glitter. And here is our neon Hello Yellow enamel. I love that one. So summery. So we've got some Christmas cards and some summery cards as well. I hope you enjoyed this session where we talked all about Blanco Gel. If you want more information about Blanco, I'll also link a video where I did a Blanco demo from Inktoberfest. There are a lot more things you can do with it, including here's this one where we added the glitter, and here's one that we can also foil if we want to, but we used it just as white over an inked background. So a couple more options for you there. So much fun. Now, if you have any questions, be sure to leave those in the comments or send us over a message and we can answer them in future Foiling Friday videos. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up as well, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time. Enjoy your foiling. Bye-bye.